law school misconceptions, what law school is actually like, and how we're going to navigate going forward, what advice we have to people who are watching, all of that great stuff. So without further ado, Thomas, let's take the temperature. How are you feeling?
Hey man, same man. Um, so law school is a lot of reading, although I'm not mad at all. Um, because in undergrad I was really involved. I was in student org leadership. I was meeting with administrators. I was trying to coordinate a lot of things with the Black Student Union. I was doing debate. Um, and so this is the first time since sophomore year of college, and I went straight through. So I graduated in May 2021 and started in August 2021. Um, but it's like the first time since sophomore, junior year where I've just felt like a regular student, uh, which I didn't realize how important that was. Just because it's like, I don't know, like in undergrad, my friends would go out on weekends or go out during the week. And I either had to, you know, I was either doing classwork, doing BSU work, or doing debate work, or working because I always kept a job in undergrad, usually two at the same time. Um, but now it just feels like, I'm regular. I go to class during the week. I goof off and do a little bit of homework on the weekends, and that's my experience. Um, but it do be a lot. It do be a lot. I think Columbia. So like, I don't know. We'll probably get into this later. You know, the, I couldn't because I've never been to another law school. I just couldn't tell you like what the difference is.
Mhm.
Um, besides like we're in New York City and we have different professors, but like perceptually, I got no clue what the rankings are or why they matter,
Mhm.
right? It's just like because it seems like if you go to law school anywhere, like you're gonna learn your doctrinal classes.
Mhm.
Maybe you'll have an opportunity or two to participate in a clinic, and then you graduate with a law degree. Um, so it's like I don't know. It's really weird because everybody here's like, "Oh, we're at Columbia," but it's just like, okay, and like, so
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah, it's good that you have that type of outlook on things. I think that it's important to realize like we're both taking torts right now.
Yeah,
And are you taking contracts?
yeah. I'm taking towards contracts and civil procedure.
Yeah, we have all the same classes. And I think that something I like, oh, the first question was like, how are you feeling? Because, and I wanted to ask that purposefully because I wanted to know, how are you feeling? Like, is law school what you thought it would be? Because for me, I mean, the fact that we've mentioned race once in a little seminar that was like a race and ethnicity type of hey, please don't be racist type thing, like type thing, the first week of orientation, and we have not talked about race since. We have not engaged with race on any sort of critical level, despite us reading Penoyer v. Neff and like the whole I don't know if you read Penoyer v.
I
Neff.
haven't read that one yet.
Okay, well, basically, it's like the biggest case in, or what my professor thinks, is like one of the landmark cases of civil procedure. And so basically, like the whole thing starts with a land grant in Oregon that was basically during the time of Manifest Destiny.
Hmm.
But there's no discussion about any of that.
Bro,
It's just
what?
like, oh, this guy just got this land,
Casual.
and
Like there weren't people living there.
like there weren't people living there, and it just happened to be that there was a dispute over this land, and there's no conversation about, oh, well, is this native land, is this like there's no space for that in the case book. There's no
Yeah,
critical engagement with settler colonialism within the case book, and I think that's purposeful. I
yeah.
think that there's a reason for that, and I think it's white supremacy. um but,
No, that's real. Because like I don't know, some of these casebooks would be like, this very clearly has racial undertones. Like what? Like we read a case and uh it was a civil procedure case. I think it was Lassiter, the Department of Social Services in Durham County North Carolina.
Mhm.
And the way they quote this lady in the case, it's like very clear that she's a poor, probably black, Southern lady. But, but the professor is a black woman teaching this class. I was like, hey, we not going. And there was like a brief mention of it, but at the same time, it's just like, wait a minute. You know damn well these white judges
Mhm.
and the or these all these non-black judges on the Supreme Court are deciding this case, and this is a lady without a lot of means. And this is a black woman, and she talks a certain kind of way, and she probably had a southern draw, right? And it's stuff like that, but it's just like, oh no, there's not a lot of space for that in the case book. Um,
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
aggravating.
It's so aggravating. And it's like, I actually read a case today that was like just openly in contracts, Williams v. Walker Furniture Company. And it
Oh,
is
was that the guy who was writing like real shitty, like he was selling people stuff?
he was selling people stuff and he was like, you know what? If you can't pay it back or you miss a payment, I'm taking all your shit.
Yes, yes, bro,
Yeah.
bro. I was like, what?
I was like,
He
yeah,
was
it's
just
unconscionable. And it literally is unconscionable. And so like when I read that case, I was like, something's not right. It happened in DC. I'm like, I'm from Maryland. So, it's like it happened in Maryland. I'm not really understanding what's going on here. This sounds like these are Black people. It just
yeah.
sounds very like it has to be Black people. White people generally in this time period, they're not renting furniture. I don't think that that's a thing really, and especially not in DC, a predominantly Black area during this time.
Yeah.
Like it's not happening. So like in the engagement of class, we're going through the cases, going through the motion, and we don't really discuss like, is this a Black person? Is this a white person? How do we talk about, even though this person is Black? And if you do read like commentary on the case, like there's a great article by Georgetown Law, in the Georgetown Law Review about this case and how this is a Black woman who is facing class issues. She has 7 kids. She's trying to make it the best she can. And these people who wrote her in the court case book completely like admitted all of that. It's
Yeah.
like this was a colorful person. This was a person with a whole life and like so much about her. And she's basically distilled into this colorless, reasonable person. It's like, what is this? What is this idea of a reasonable person? And that whole reasonable person thing, I think, is so racist.
Your reasonability is a weird. It's a weird standard.
It's such a weird thing. But I'm sorry, I feel like we're getting away from the thing where.
No, that's important because you're gonna have people watching this, and the question that you asked earlier was, is law school what I expected? Absolutely not. Nope. I no.
Nope.
And like the only thing that I knew to expect was that there'd be a lot of reading, but that's it. I did not expect the things that you're reading to feel so divorced from like real experiences. Because like you're saying, a lot of the case books, they take plaintiffs and defendants who are like, this is not fiction. These were
Mm-hmm.
real life people with real life issues arguing before, the highest court in their state
Mm-hmm.
or an appellate court, a district court, the Supreme Court. But they're, I guess, like for the sake of focus, it gets boiled down to it's very bland. And when like you hear, oh, these are the facts of a case, those facts of the case are not, you know, this is a lady who was doing jail time, wasn't able to see her kids. The state just tries to go in and take custody. Like those are the facts, but it like that's kind of what they give you. They don't give you. There's not a discussion of race. There's not a discussion of class. Um, and I think some of my case books try to provide some of that background or context after you read the case,
Mm-hmm.
but then it really changes how you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you just read it like that black and white, this is the case. It doesn't feel real. It kind of just feels like you're reading about characters in a play to discern whatever the legal principle is in that case.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And not only do you feel like it's just characters in a play, but this is you're supposed to be learning about, or in theory, like because like this whole idea of like case books and case law and like learning about all this is a relatively new phenomena. Like this has not existed